All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Lalema Aneja Dang and with me is Sarabjit Kaur. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says cities cannot be developed with election-centric approach. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman calls upon fintech companies to take advantage of opportunities in green finance. EPFO adds more than 18 lakh net subscribers in July this year. RBI decides to take out Central Bank of India from prompt corrective action restrictions. IMD predicts heavy rain in Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Vidarbha region of Maharashtra in the next 2 days. Gujarati film Chhello Show is India's official entry for the Oscars 2023. French President Emmanuel Macron says Prime Minister Narendra Modi was right when he said this is not the time for war. At least 13 people, including 11 children, killed in an airstrike by Myanmar military in Nepean town. And in cricket, Australia beat India by 4 wickets in the first T20 international of 3-match series in Mohali. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for a holistic approach to planned cities and urban spaces. Addressing mayors of the BJP-ruled urban bodies in Gandhinagar, Mr. Modi said that urban development cannot be done with just a single approach of winning elections. The Prime Minister said many times decisions which could prove beneficial for the cities are not taken just out of fear that such decisions can result in election loss. He said representatives must not become election-centric but instead should focus on developing satellite towns, proper urban planning with basic infrastructure like roads, street lights and water and sewerage systems.
आजादी के अमृत काल में अगले 25 वर्ष के लिए भारत के शहरी विकास का एक रोडमैप बनाने में भी इस सम्मेलन की बड़ी भूमिका है। हमारे देश के नागरिकों ने बहुत लंबे समय शहरों के विकास को लेकर भाजपा पर जो विश्वास रखा है उसे निरंतर बनाए रखना हम सभी का दायित्व है।
Mr. Modi also emphasized on infrastructure development of Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities that can help in decreasing the burden on big cities with massive population. Talking about creating urban infrastructure for mass transport, Prime Minister said the metro rail network in different cities of India was less than 250 kilometers in 2014, but has now increased to more than 750 kilometers, while work is going on for another 1,000 kilometers. He said, today we are developing 100 smart cities across the country and so far we have completed projects worth 75,000 crore rupees. As many as 118 mayors and deputy mayors of the BJP-ruled urban local bodies from 18 states and union territories are participating in the 2-day conference being held in Gandhinagar, Gujarat.
Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has called upon the fintech industry to take advantage of specific opportunities in green finance and play their part in building a sustainable financial environment. She also asked fintech players to break the distance barrier and have more engagements with the government and its agencies to enhance trust. Ms. Sitharaman said there are opportunities for fintech players to play the role in a sustainable financial environment and take advantage of the specific opportunities in green finance. Addressing the Global Fintech Fest, she said everyone in the government, whether the Prime Minister, ministers or think tank Niti Aayog, is constantly available for engagement, discussions and exchange of ideas. RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das said the central bank is committed to supporting innovation for fintech companies but not at cost of consumer interest. Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has said that the UK is keen to stick to the Diwali deadline for India-UK free trade agreement and both countries are working towards it. Piyush Goyal made the statement regarding free trade agreement between India and UK at an event in Delhi yesterday. Earlier in the day, British High Commissioner to India, Alex Ellis, said that India and the United Kingdom have the high ambition of completing the Free Trade Agreement FTA by Diwali this year. He said that the agreement will increase employment and bring economic development to India over the next 25 years. The two countries concluded the fifth round of talks for the free trade agreement last month.
Employees Provident Fund Organization, EPFO, added 18,23,000 net members in July this year, registering a growth of 24.48% in comparison to the same month of last year. The provisional payroll data of EPFO reflects that more than 10 lakh new members out of 18.23 lakh members have come under the Social Security cover of EPFO for the first time. According to the data, more than 57% are from the age group of 18 to 25 years in the 10.58 lakh new members added in July this year. The data shows that first-time job seekers are joining organized sector workforce in large numbers.
The Reserve Bank has removed Central Bank of India from its prompt corrective action framework after the lender showed improvement in various financial ratios, including minimum regulatory capital and net non-performing assets. The prompt corrective action norm is a supervisory tool and is imposed when a bank breaches certain regulatory thresholds on capital to risk-weighted assets ratio, net NPAs, and return on assets. The RBI had imposed the PCA norms on the bank in June 2017 due to its high net NPA and negative return of assets. After reviewing the performance of the Central Bank of India, RBI decided to remove the restrictions on the bank. The bank has provided a written commitment that it would comply with the norms of minimum regulatory capital, net NPA, and leverage ratio on an ongoing basis.
Home Minister Amit Shah reviewed the implementation of Brew Agreement with Chief Minister Tripura Manik Saha in New Delhi yesterday. Significant achievement has been made in the resettlement of Brew people displaced from Mizoram in Tripura since the signing of agreement in January 2020. The agreement provides a comprehensive package for each family being rehabilitated. During the meeting, senior officers of central and state government were also present. The number of rehabilitated families in Tripura is 6,959 with total population of over 37,000. It said so far 3,696 families have been resettled and the rest are in the process of resettlement.
30 ex-IPS officers have written a letter to President Draupadi Murmu against Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's behavior with police personnel in Gujarat. It said Mr. Kejriwal's recent visit to Ahmedabad has raised some worrying concerns. They have requested President to intervene in the matter, saying Mr. Kejriwal's misbehavior is intended to undermine the police force of the country. The ex-IPS officer cited a similar instance in the past by Mr. Kejriwal. In 2017, during the run-up to elections in Punjab, he raised a similar grievance with the Punjab police, even asking for complete withdrawal of security.
India and Egypt have agreed to identify proposals for expanding cooperation between the defense industries of the two countries in a time-bound manner. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh held bilateral talks with his Egyptian counterpart, General Mohammad Zaki, in Cairo on Monday. Both sides discussed steps to strengthen defense ties and reached a consensus to enhance the conduct of joint exercises and exchange of personnel for training, especially in the field of counterinsurgency. Well, in morning matters, now let us listen to a discussion on India-Egypt ties. The participants are Atul Aneja, strategic analyst, and Sanjay Jha, journalist.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is on a 3-day visit which has started on Sunday to further extend defence cooperation between two countries. He is carrying proposals that would see the revival of Egypt-India jet technology cooperation. Mr. Aneja, what significance do you attach to Defence Minister's visit of Egypt?
India and Egypt had a very special relationship which goes back to the late 50s and 60s. And then it was with Gamal Abdel Nasser, the leader of Egypt, and then the leadership of the time, which Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi. Then, of course, because of geopolitical reasons, in the collapse of the Soviet Union, when we were no longer in a Cold War context and the non-aligned movement really declined, there was a lull, in a way, in the relationship between India and Egypt. But I think it's coming full circle now. The manner in which and the kind of meetings the scope and the agenda of Defense Minister Rajnath Singh's meetings in Egypt reminds me of an attempt to revive, to put it another way, to rekindle the old romance. And so this does not seem to be just a visit of continuity of bilateral relations. And India, again, one of the major economies of the world. I think in this new context, both India and Egypt are looking at each other differently and with far more aspiration and ambition. It is the revival of a relationship to a very high level.
Egypt is a key actor in the new network of alliances across West Asia, tying together India and Israel with the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. The coalition is critical to India's energy security needs. How will this alliance, Egypt's position in West Asia, will help us in reaching out for our energy needs, for our security interest in West Asia?
Egypt is a country which controls the Suez Canal, which is a main artery for trade between the rest of the world and Europe. And therefore, it acquires a special significance, a good relationship with Egypt. Second thing is, there was once a very thriving defense relationship between India and Egypt. And when Egyptians also bought Soviet origin weaponry, and we also had similar equipment. So at that time, when many Indian pilots actually went to train the Egyptian Air Force, and the Egyptians are very interested in new energy projects. So I think the new energy is coming into another dimension in the tie-ups between India and Egypt. So new economy, Sanjay, is becoming a new area of connection between India and Egypt. Third thing is geopolitically. You see, we are entering into a multipolar era where once again there are going to be multiple power centers in the world. Israel will be one, but Egypt will also be one. And Egypt and Israel no longer are antagonistic with each other. And then you have the Middle East areas, Iran will be one. And then you have Saudi Arabia and GCC as another. India will be one, China will be one, Russia will be one, and the US will be one. So when power has got diffused, Egypt has the potential of being a middle-level power. And therefore, it is important that countries like India bond with Egyptians, and Egyptians have an advantage of bonding with India, which not only has a potential of a regional power, but frankly, then into a global power. So I think it's a convergence of interest in multiple spheres between India and Egypt. And I would suspect that the visit of the Raksha Mantri is only one major, it's a pioneering step, but we are likely to see more in terms of even higher level visits. This could be setting the ground for a possible summit at some point between India and Egypt.
We have also seen the India and Egypt trade exchange, growing exponentially. What are the traditional trade route between two countries?
One of the major things which was traded, export, was our agriculture products, especially wheat was going in from India to that. The whole idea was to put tea as part of, like we had the fair price shops or the ration shops which sell it at low prices. The Egyptians also had that kind of a concept based on their socialist era. We were interested to introduce all types of teas into Egypt so that it has a captive market of tea. So that is one. I think one very major thing is cultural exchanges, which we need to do. Egypt is one of the oldest civilizations of the world, as is India. So I think when it comes to cultural exchanges, tourism is a very major area. Egypt is a tourism powerhouse because of the pyramids and their pharaonic history. But so is India aspiring to be one. So I think there is a complementarity here in terms of adding new areas like tourism into the basket of exchanges between India and Egypt.
Mr. Aneja, thank you so much for your time and analyzing the Defense Minister's visit to Egypt.
Thank you so much, Sanjay.
You were listening to a discussion on India-Egypt ties.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says cities cannot be developed with election-centric approach. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman calls upon fintech companies to take advantage of opportunities in green finance. EPFO adds more than 18 lakh net subscribers in July this year. RBI decides to take out Central Bank of India from prompt corrective action restrictions. IMD predicts heavy rain in Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Vidarbha region of Maharashtra in next 2 days. Gujarati film Chhello Show is India's official entry for Oscars 2023. French President Emmanuel Macron says Prime Minister Narendra Modi was right when he said this is not the time for war. At least 13 people, including 11 children, killed in airstrike by Myanmar military in Nepean town. And in cricket, Australia beat India by 4 wickets in first T20 international of 3-match series in Mohali. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
न्यू इंडिया समाचार, नए भारत का संकल्प, सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास। समाज में गरीब और कमजोर तबकों के लिए सरकार की चल रही कल्याणकारी योजनाओं और कार्यक्रमों से जुड़ी जानकारी पाएं। सरकार के इन कदमों के बारे में जानें और लाभ उठाएं। आकाशवाणी पर अब सुनिए जन कल्याण के सरोकार दोपहर 3 बजे से हर शनिवार। सुनिए न्यू इंडिया समाचार आकाशवाणी के साथ।
French President Emmanuel Macron has said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was right when he said that this is not the time for war. Mr. Macron said this while addressing the ongoing 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York City last night. This statement of Mr. Macron came in reference to Prime Minister Modi and Russia's President Vladimir Putin's conversation, where Mr. Modi had said that today's era is not of war. Prime Minister Modi spoke this during a bilateral meeting on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Uzbekistan's Samarkand.
आज का युग युद्ध का है नहीं और हमने फोन पर भी कई बार आपसे इस विषय में बात की है कि डेमोक्रेसी और डिप्लोमेसी और डायलॉग ये सारी बातें ऐसी हैं कि जो दुनिया को एक स्पर्श करती हैं। आने वाले दिनों में शांति के रास्ते पर हम कैसे बढ़ सके उसके विषय में जरूर आज हमें चर्चा करने का मौका मिलेगा।
Responding to Prime Minister Modi, Russian President Vladimir Putin said that he knows about India's position on the Ukraine conflict and, quote, "We all want this to end as soon as possible," unquote.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that the world is in big trouble and needs collective action across the board. Mr. Guterres, while addressing the UN General Assembly before the opening of the general debate, has said that our world is in big trouble, divides are growing deeper, inequalities are growing wider, and the challenges are spreading further. The UN chief said crises like the conflict in Ukraine, climate emergency and biodiversity loss, and the dire financial situation of developing countries threaten the very future of humanity and the fate of the planet.
It's high time to put fossil fuel producers, investors and enablers on notice. Polluters must pay. And today I'm calling on all developed economies to tax the windfall profits of fossil fuel companies. Those funds should be redirected in 2 ways: to countries suffering loss and damage caused by the climate crisis, and to people struggling with rising food and energy prices.
He added that progress on all these issues and more is being held hostage to geopolitical tensions.
Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan will pay an official visit to Djibouti from today. During his 2 days visit, the minister will call on the Prime Minister of Djibouti, Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, and will hold talks with Foreign Minister Mahmoud Ali Yusuf on the issues of mutual interest. He will also interact with the Indian community in Djibouti. Mr. Muralidharan said an agreement on the exemption from visa requirement for holders of diplomatic, official and service passports is to be signed during the visit. Besides, an MOU between the Sushma Swaraj Institute of Foreign Service and the Institute of Diplomatic Studies of Djibouti will also be signed.
In Myanmar, at least 13 people, including 11 children, were killed in an airstrike by army helicopters in Nepean town. UNICEF said 15 people are also missing after troops and helicopter gunships opened fire on a temple school in Sagang region, a rebel stronghold. Myanmar's military government said it was an action against insurgents hiding in the school at Letyetkon village. The school students ranged from those in the kindergarten to young teenagers. Most of the children's bodies were taken away by military troops. Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for crores of people across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with the series Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio. In today's episode, we will bring you the story of government schemes which played significant role in upliftment and empowerment of masses.
Over the years, the Government of India has introduced a number of schemes that have not only helped Indian citizens improve their financial situations, but have also contributed to the country's economy. These schemes and measures include National Social Assistance Scheme, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, Swachh Bharat Mission, Ayushman Bharat Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, PM Kisan Scheme, Prime Minister Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi Scheme, National Livelihood Mission Ajivika, and Ayushman Bharat Yojana. National Social Assistance Scheme was launched in 1995 to provide financial assistance to the elderly, widows, and people with disabilities in the form of social pensions. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005 is an Indian labour law and social security measure that aims to guarantee the right to work. The Union government is now aiming to use MGNREGA work towards making a self-sustainable village which could generate income to farmers as well. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has launched several schemes to accelerate the pace of reform and transform the lives of the people in the country. Swachh Bharat Mission is a country-wide campaign initiated in 2014 to eliminate open defecation and improve solid waste management. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana is a national mission for financial inclusion, particularly to provide access to financial services at affordable rates. It was announced on the eve of Independence Day in 2014 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
भारत की आजादी के बाद गरीब से गरीब की व्यक्ति का देश की आर्थिक मुख्य धारा से जुड़ना ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट है। उसने फाइनेंशियल वर्ल्ड में एक नया विश्वास पैदा किया है और एक नई दिशा का संकेत दिया है। देश का गरीब जीरो बैलेंस अकाउंट खोलने के बावजूद भी 14,000 करोड़ रुपया बैंक में जमा करता है। उससे बड़ी गरीबों की अमीरी नहीं हो सकती। अगर इसको एक हम ताकत समझे और ये जो उनके संस्कार हैं, उनकी मनोवैज्ञानिक भूमिका है, जो उनके मन के आदर्श हैं, ये भी राष्ट्र की एक बहुत बड़ी ताकत होते हैं। हमें उसको नर्चर करना चाहिए।
Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban Mission, launched on 25th June 2015, intends to provide housing for all in urban areas by the year 2022. Under the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign, Sukanya Samriddhi scheme was launched on 22nd January 2015. The aim of the scheme is to meet the education and marriage expenses of a girl child. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana is designed for providing loans up to 10 lakh rupees to the non-corporate, non-farm, small and micro enterprises. Under the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, the government aimed to safeguard the health of women and children by providing them with clean cooking fuel. PM Kisan is a central sector scheme launched on the 24th of February 2019 to supplement financial needs of landholding farmers. Atal Pension Yojana aims at delivering old age income security, particularly to the workers in the unorganized sector. Prime Minister Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi aims to provide affordable working capital loan to street vendors to resume their livelihoods that have been adversely affected due to COVID-19 lockdown. Ayushman Bharat Yojana is a health protection scheme which provides health insurance to the citizens of India. Under this scheme, insurance coverage of up to 5 lakh rupees on a family floater basis is provided to the beneficiaries every year. These steps aim to educate and empower masses economically by providing them with quality education and gainful employment opportunities. Various schemes are being implemented for development of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, minorities and other groups.
India Meteorological Department has predicted heavy rainfall in Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Vidarbha region of Maharashtra during the next 2 days. IMD said a low pressure area lies over northwest Bay of Bengal and adjoining North Odisha West Bengal coasts. IMD has also predicted heavy rainfall with thunderstorms in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh over the coming few days. The Gujarati film Chhello Show has been announced as India's official entry to the Oscars 2023. The Film Federation of India has announced India's official entry to the 95th Academy Awards. It has been selected in the Best International Feature Film category. The film is set to be released in theatres on 14th of October in India. Chhello Show, which is titled Last Film Show in English, had its world premiere as the opening film at Robert De Niro's Tribeca Film Festival and has won multiple awards across various international film festivals.
World Alzheimer's Day is being observed today. Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia. It is a progressive brain disease which results in loss of memory and thinking skills. It destroys the brain cells which cause memory loss, memory changes, erratic behavior and loss of body functions. This year, the theme for World Alzheimer's Month 2022 is No Dementia, No Alzheimer. In our bilingual live phone-in program, Swasth Bharat, Dr. Rajendra Dhamija, Director IBHAS New Delhi, will be with us tonight to answer queries of listeners on mental health and Alzheimer's disease-related issues. Listeners can ask questions to the expert from 9:30 p.m. on telephone number 011-2342-1230. You can also post your queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by #AskAIR.
In cricket, Australia defeated India by 4 wickets in the first T20 international of 3-match series at PCA Stadium in Mohali last night. Chasing a target of 209 runs, Australia made 211 runs for the loss of 6 wickets in 19.2 overs. For Australia, Cameron Green with 61 was the top scorer, while Matthew Wade also made quick 45 runs in 21 balls. Cameron Green was declared player of the match. For India, Akshar Patel scalped 3 wickets and Umesh Yadav took 2 wickets. India will take Australia in the second T20 International at Vidarbha Cricket Association Stadium, Nagpur on Friday. India are now trailing 0-1 in the 3-match T20 series.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Raising capex, filling vacancies, top Prime Minister's agenda for ministries, says Hindu Business Line. These will be priority as decided in a meeting of Council of Ministers on September 7th. Army to shed colonial baggage to review unit names, uniform is the Tribune headline. Government working on single KYC system for all transactions across institutions, says Finance Minister Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, is the Economic Times headline. World Bank approves $150 million loan for Punjab to improve state's finances, service delivery, says the Statesman. First multiplex opens in Srinagar, Film City on cards, locals to get incentives to make movies, says LG, is the Tribune headline. Ram Leelas shine again with Ayodhya Temple and nationalism as key themes, reports the Times of India, referring to Delhi. And finally, the Pioneer carries a beautiful photograph of an illuminated roundabout with a statue and a canopy as part of the Dussehra celebrations in Mysuru.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says cities cannot be developed with election-centric approach. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman calls upon fintech companies to take advantage of opportunities in green finance. EPFO adds more than 18 lakh net subscribers in July this year. RBI decides to take out Central Bank of India from prompt corrective action restrictions. IMD predicts heavy rain in Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Vidarbha region of Maharashtra in the next 2 days. Gujarati film Chhello Show is India's official entry for the Oscars 2023. French President Emmanuel Macron says Prime Minister Narendra Modi was right when he said this is not the time for war. At least 13 people, including 11 children, killed in an airstrike by Myanmar military in Depayan town. And in cricket, Australia beat India by 4 wickets in first T20 international of 3-match series in Mohali. Well, for details of these stories and more, you may log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and our News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.